Hi class, today we are on Saxon Math, Book 4, Lesson 73, and we are going to talk about geometric transformations. So geometric is just a form of the word geometry, and geometry is the type of math where we're talking about shapes and figures and lines, things like that. So geometric transformations is when we take a shape and we move it, or we flip it, or we turn it. So there's a few things that you are going to need in your math dictionary. Nyla, would you turn the light out so the glare goes away on my video, please? Thank you. So I have 4 things that I'm going to need you to put in your math dictionary. The first one is orientation, and as soon as we get the light turned out, you'll be able to read that better. Orientation is just the position of an object. So this orientation is different from this orientation. It's just how the object is facing, how it's sitting on a page. Okay, so you'll need that in your math dictionary. The other 3 words that we want in your math dictionary are the math words for turn, flip, and slide. So our math word for slide is translation. Translation, and it still looks to me like there's a pretty good glare there. Okay, so I'm going to spell it for you. Translation is T-R-A-N-S-L-A-T-I-O-N. And if I am going to translate, I'm going to slide. So I'm going to slide across your screen on my wheelie chair right now. My bottom never lifts up from the chair. The wheels of my chair never lift up from the floor. I am translating or performing a translation across your screen. I'm sliding. Whee! The next one is reflection. A reflection is a flip. So I'll get my triangle out here again. Here's my triangle. If I flip it, I've performed a reflection. I reflected the triangle across this line. Or I could reflect it this way. Reflection, when you flip a shape. And the last one is rotation. Rotation, if you rotate, you're turning. So now I'm performing a rotation as I turn in my wheelie chair. Ooh, better not get dizzy. So a rotation is a turn. All right, so just some notation that I want to share with you. You may see your book labeling the shapes. So they might call this shape 1 and then call this shape 2 and ask you what transformation was performed in order to move shape 1 into the position of shape 2. So watch, did I translate it? They don't line up. Translation doesn't work. Did I reflect? If I flip triangle 1, notice how it lines up perfectly with triangle 2. So a reflection could have happened. Did I rotate it? Is there any way I can rotate this to turn it into triangle 2? Nope. So in this case, reflection must be what happened to go from position 1 to position 2. All right, so if you guys were here in class with me, you would all have your own triangles. So if you would take a piece of paper, if you're my student, I believe there's a lesson activity attached to your lesson plans that has 2 triangles you can cut out. If you're not my student, just take a piece of paper, cut out 2 of the exact same triangles. Okay? And I want you to start with one of them. You're going to want to hit pause until you get your triangles cut out. Come back to me when you're ready to go with this activity. So, start with just one of your triangles. And I want you to translate your triangle. Translate. What does that mean? What are you supposed to do? Did you slide your triangle? That is translation. I am translating my triangle. I didn't give you a direction, so it doesn't matter which way you slid it, but you don't want to pick it up off the page and you don't want to turn the point any other way. You're going to leave it sitting like this. I have mine sitting on the short side with the tall side pointing to the sky, and I can translate down, I can translate up, I can translate to the left, to the right, I can translate diagonally, but my triangle does not change its orientation. It still is situated the same way on the page. The location just moves. Okay, take your same triangle, and I want to see you reflect. Reflect your triangle. Perform a reflection. Did you flip it this way? Or did you flip it this way? Either of those would be correct. You could have even flipped it on its top point up here and ended up like that. But whatever direction you chose to do, or actually I could flip it on the diagonal side too. Whatever direction you decided to do, all you're doing is flipping it, okay? That's a reflection. And finally, I want you to rotate your triangle. Rotate. You're going to perform a rotation. So I could rotate mine like this. I'm going to hold on to one point while I move the rest of it. This is called my point of rotation. I do not have to rotate it on the top point. I could rotate it on any of my 3 corners there, or I could rotate it over here. Or I could stick my finger in the middle there and I could rotate it around the middle. Either way you choose to rotate, you are just turning. You're not moving it, you're just turning your triangle. It's easiest to do if you stick your finger on whatever point you want to rotate and hold that down really tight and then turn the rest of it. Okay? So translation, reflection, rotation. Now I want you to use your second triangle along with the first. And I want to make sure I set mine up correctly. And I'm going to need all my hands here. Sometimes I wish I were an octopus, so I have more arms. Okay, so here's my 2 triangles. I want you to set yours up so they look like mine. And then I want you to move your first triangle, this one that's standing up nice and tall. Try to move it so that it lines up with the second triangle. Okay, so to start out with, you're holding them like this. And pay attention to what you need to do. Do you need to translate it? Do you need to slide it a little? Do you need to rotate it? Do you need to reflect? Pay attention to what you have to do as you move this one to lay on top of this one. So I think I might actually need some tape to make it stick so that I can use my hands here. Okay, so hopefully you have started the process of moving it, and now that I have my second one taped down, I can do the same process. If I just slide it, that's not going to do much. I think I need to rotate it. I think I need to turn it like that. So now I'm close. I've performed a rotation, but are they perfectly lined up? So in addition to rotating, now I have to translate. I have to slide the first one over on top of the second one. So if my book were asking me, what did I do? What transformations did I perform to move triangle 1 onto triangle 2? I would say rotation and translation, because it requires both movements in order to get them perfectly lined up. All right, so once again, if you were here in person, I would have you play with those a little bit longer. I would probably have you partner up and move your triangles and try to get your partner to move the triangle to figure out what the transformations are. So if you have an older brother or sister or a homeschool parent at home that wants to challenge you with that, tell them, hey, set my 2 triangles down and let me figure out how I can move one to lay on top of the other. Here's what I don't want you to do. So let's say triangle 2 is here, triangle 1, let's say it's right there. What I don't want you to do is pick it up and set it on top. I want you to figure out, do I need to reflect? If you're reflecting, then yes, you are going to pick it up, but you would reflect it right across that line. You wouldn't reflect by moving it over here, okay? Slide it, leave it laying on the table or the paper if you're going to translate, and leave it sitting on the paper if you're going to rotate, okay? So you guys can get a little bit more practice with that once we get off the video here. The last thing I want to point out to you before I have you do the lesson practice is the way we label things. So I'm going to draw this picture here. Looks kind of like this. C is in the middle, D is up top, and E is over here. So if we were talking about this picture, we could break it apart into 2 different triangles, right? So here's how they would be named. This triangle here would be named triangle. So we draw a little triangle to show that's what shape we're talking about. A, B, C. See, triangle A, B, C. This triangle here would be triangle C, D, E. So we name triangles by their 3 points. So this is point A, this is point B, point C, point D, and point E. You name them according to what their 3 corners are, what their 3 points are. And we draw this little triangle in front, again, to show that it is a triangle that we're talking about. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have 3 lesson practice problems on page 469. Your written practice also starts on page 469. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon.